The aspects this week are a little quieter, which doesn't necessarily make them any less potent. We just have a lot more moon aspects and a couple planets changing signs, and this subtle shift that starts inwards before it becomes apparent outwardly, especially as next week is a big week with the solar eclipse. This week is more like the psychology of everything comes first, and this is your week ahead forecast for August the 3rd. Welcome to the Horoscope Vault, a podcast that explores the world through the lens of astrology with a view to supporting you through life's ups and downs and helping you make more confident decisions through each chapter. I'm Charlie, an associate member of the American Federation of Astrologers and astrology reader for Radio's The Bob and Sherry Show. This is your Monday forecast. Starting with Monday, August 3rd, the moon conjuncts Saturn in Aries. Remember that Saturn is retrograde. So the aspect is the conjunction. It's the merging of two principles. It's the merging of the planets involved. So we have the moon with its connection to emotions and the home, its femininity, its women, its daily life, it's your reactions. And then we have Saturn with the theme of responsibility, authority, restrictions, commitment, consequences. Saturn is also the process of aging. It's also the necessity of structure. The degree theme this conjunction happens in is the theme of chaos. So it's the idea that ineffective action leads to chaos and disorder. So emotional impulsiveness might influence action that is premature and spontaneous, and it kind of blows things up. The alternative is that action wasn't followed, rules were not followed, and it then causes a few problems. Poor planning creates problems, something falling behind schedule, an authority issue, someone coming down hard on something, or alternatively, someone relinquishing their responsibility. This could be an issue demanding immediate attention. It could be an obligation that absolutely has to be handled. It might be, some equipment requires maintenance, or it could be a serious conversation that needs to be approached in order to fix some chaos. Whatever the immediate predicament is, it happens to feel intense, but it requires calm organization rather than speed. The conjunction merges the moon's daily momentum with Saturn's responsibility and consequence. And Saturn being retrograde might make this more of an internal reorganization. It might be that chaos is going on around you that you're somehow involved in. And therefore, the matter on Monday may not involve you directly, but the repercussions do. And the momentum of the chaos continues for a few months. Every time the moon meets Saturn between now and when Saturn goes direct, this becomes a growing matter. So the dates in this cycle are August 3rd, August 31st, September 27th, October 24th, and November 20th. And then after that, Saturn stations direct December 10th, and the solution to the chaos becomes crystal clear by December 18th. So you've got 5 months of a matter that is a little bit off, where disorder exists, requiring discipline or withdrawal to restore that order. For Aries Sun and Rising, this is a life change. The disorder is in the life that you're gripping onto that is in need of change. Something personal needs more discipline, more organization, more order, and essentially change. Taurus Sun and Rising, this is disordered healing. Healing is more clear by December. Gemini Sun and Rising, disorder is with your hopes and expectations, so your bigger goals are affected by a life that lacks organization for a few months. Cancer Sun and Rising, disorganization is within your work life. It's your true career pursuit. Leo Sun and Rising, the chaos is with a matter of truth or within education. Virgo Sun and Rising, a little chaos that has become your problem by proxy of somebody else's problems. Libra Sun and Rising, the chaos is in your relationships. Scorpio Sun and Rising, the chaos is in the impact of the chaos on your health. Sagittarius Sun and Rising, the chaos is within your recreational behaviors. Capricorn Sun and Rising, some chaos at home is going through a big cycle. Aquarius Sun and Rising, paperwork chaos. and Pisces Sun and Rising, some financial chaos. However Monday goes, just try to remember it's the first stage of this cycle. So make sure you journal at the end of Monday, whatever happens, whatever it feels like, because you can look back at those writings over the next few months. It will be super helpful. Tuesday the 4th, the moon in Aries sextiles Mars in Gemini at 25 degrees of each sign. The sextile aspect is one of opportunity and cooperation. And then the planets involved, we have the moon again, connection, emotions, the home, the daily life and reactions. Mars with its theme of action, initiative, movement, things like competition and decisions. The moon's degree in this aspect is literal nurturing. The Mars degree is called the prophet. And the prophet is about the positivity of planning. The whole aspect is really about the nurturing of the self by applying your energy to something that you know you're meant to do. You might feel called to something, very deeply, deeply called. So this is about sitting with that thing that you want to do, the thing you feel called to do, that you may or may not have started yet. Maybe you've started it and been inconsistent with it. This is not necessarily about taking action on that thing on this day. It's more intentional than that. It's about aligning with confidence, nurturing and boosting your confidence in order to get hyped and psyched up for the preparation and action necessary. So read a book on the thing that you feel called to do. Identify where it is you are scattered, and then choose fewer goals and give them stronger intention. This is having a motivating conversation that boosts your confidence. This is feeling like it's now, once and for all, for you to start a project after a very long time of delaying it. It's good for reading literature where others have done similar, and that gives you a nice little inspiring story that lets you know this is possible. It's also a good time for an exercise, a manifestation exercise, but it's not your usual manifestation exercises. In fact, let's prescribe a specific manifestation exercise. So take a piece of paper, a pen, at the top of the page, write the thing that you feel called to do or that you want to be. And then below, write the word imagination. Next to the word under imagination, you want to write something you could actually see if you achieved the thing you're trying to achieve. So maybe you want to write and publish a book. So under imagination, you would write, seeing my book in bookstores and online. Or another example, let's say the thing you're trying to achieve is a certain type of business and you'd see a functional website as part of that. Then under the word imagination, write the website. Maybe your goal is to move somewhere you want to be, and it might be by the beach. So if so, under the word imagination, you would write the beach or ocean. Or maybe it's California, so you would write under the word imagination, the Hollywood sign, because that's something you would maybe see if you lived in California. Or maybe you're trying to move to New York, so you could write the Statue of Liberty. The point of the imagination sector is to write something that you would literally see, a notification, a landmark, someone, something that you would visibly see once you achieve that goal. Next, beneath this, your next entry is to write emotion. This is about what would you actually feel if you achieved the main goal that this is all about. Would you feel peace? Would you feel secure? Would you feel excitement? Maybe you would feel grateful. Note down an emotion that would come up when you think of this goal. The next entry is the word thought. So under this, you're going to write anything that you might be thinking if you achieved your goal. So maybe you would be thinking that you feel so satisfied, or maybe you would be thinking that you've achieved a job position that is fulfilling. Maybe you'd be thinking that things are much easier to finally live somewhere that feels good. Maybe you would be thinking that you are grateful for the change. The next entry is the word action. So if you held the position of this goal that you're going for, what would you do? Maybe you would need to follow a specific schedule. Maybe you would scale a business. Maybe if your book is published, you would do a book tour. Maybe if you moved, you would try to meet new people. Maybe if it's a specific job, a project, you would look to promoting the business or sharing new ideas of your position. Whatever an action may be, you could write maybe a couple, write actions underneath the word action that would pertain to the goal that you're going for. And then the key is to do something related to that action and to do it today. So your subconscious and reality align. So, for example, you want to write a book. If you were to do a book tour, the action you could do today would be to look up any ongoing book tours online. Look at where they go and think of where you would want to go. Or if your action is promoting your business, look at the path to promoting your business, the platforms that you would promote it on. Look at that today, because you can do that part of the research now. And it acts as this very encouraging influence in the subconscious mind. And I think the main part of this manifesting process is the action at the end. It guides you to do something now that links to the main goal. And it's something you probably wouldn't consider doing because it's something you feel like you could only do if you've already achieved the goal. And that is one of the biggest things of manifestation. It's the powerful action that engenders and brings on the experience when you focus on it. The whole concept of act as if and law of attraction and law of assumption can be really difficult to embody. But this manifestation technique, from the imagination, the emotion, the thinking, and then mainly the action, helps you do something small to really bring about the feeling and thought and the law of attraction related to that goal. The Moon-Mars sextile on Tuesday creates such an easy flow between emotional instinct and action. So emotionally driven action is the key on Tuesday. Wednesday, August 5th, the Moon in Taurus squares Jupiter in Leo. The square aspect is one of conflict. It's a little bit of pressure, a little bit of adjustment, and the planets involved. We still have the Moon with security, comfort, emotion, and habits. And then Jupiter is about growth, expansion, optimism, opportunity. It might be about excess sometimes. And so we have the Moon degree in the sin of omission. It means that renewal and moving forward requires a reassessment of the past. Then the Jupiter degree meaning is avoidance. It's about knowing when retreat is wiser than pushing ahead. So Wednesday is when overspending could show up, and it might bring some financial pressure. Wednesday could be a good time to postpone a purchase after some reconsideration. It might be a time when travel plans require some change. This is something delayed, overlooked, or maybe a mistaken detail that needs correction. And if disagreements show up, this is the time to back away from arguments instead of letting it escalate. The square creates friction between the comfort of the Moon and the expansion of Jupiter. And then the degrees emphasize reviewing previous choices and recognizing when restraint is the best option. Thursday, August 6th, Venus enters Libra. These are literal themes of relationship discussions. It's a season of engagements and weddings and social invitations. The emphasis is on Venusian and Libra things. So this is decorating and fashion and design, self-care, pampering, nice, pretty things. Venus is at home in Libra. This is good for negotiations and compromise. This is good for legal agreements. Diplomatic solutions are possible, both personally and globally. And there's a greater focus on fairness. On the same day, the Sun in Leo trines Saturn, which we know is retrograde in Aries. The aspect of the trine is an aspect of natural support, and the planets involved are the Sun, with the theme of leadership, identity, and authority, and then Saturn's themes, responsibility, discipline, structure, and experience. So the Sun at 14 degrees of Leo in the theme of democracy is leadership through serving others. And then Saturn is still in that degree of chaos. The trine suggests that an element of order might be restored through disciplined action. Recognizing and reorganizing your own efforts and reorganization of agreements. So in the big wide world and or your personal world, this might be a leader who earns your support. It might be a long-term plan that receives approval. It might be somebody promoted after showing consistent effort. This is when things become more efficient, rules are introduced that solve problems. It's the arrival of some guidance where business and life can establish better systems. In the news, it might be some government reform announcements. And then personally, it might be something difficult or a project that has been challenging, reaching an important milestone. The trine allows leadership and structure to work together, but it may be subtle due to the Saturn retrograde. And then the degrees suggest successful leadership is on its way to being restored. Friday, August 7th, the moon conjunct Uranus in Gemini. A conjunction is a form of blending. The moon, again, we have emotions, routines, family, and kind of everyday things. And Uranus is all about surprises, innovation, freedom, technology, and sudden change. So the conjunction happens in the 5th degree of Gemini, which is the degree of wisdom. So it is understanding applied in practical ways. So expect some unexpected news that changes overall plans. There might be a surprising conversation offering a solution. There might be technology solving a problem. There might be a sudden schedule change, or the changing of minds after learning new information. The moon in Uranus is a mini breakthrough. These kind of mini breakthroughs happen monthly. Whenever the moon meets Uranus, the themes are always different. So with this theme of wisdom, a breakthrough idea appears unexpectedly, and it's a bit of a good idea. It's a great idea even. So be prepared for that on Friday. The final days of the week, Saturday, August 8th, the moon in Gemini sextile Sun in Leo. The moon's degree is altruism, so it's personal sacrifice. The sun's degree is anarchy, which is rejecting outdated systems. This is cooperation for the purpose of improvement. So it's someone volunteering their time or their effort that helps out a kind of difficult situation. It's someone willingly taking on extra work to help the group. It's reaching an agreement through discussion or some kind of creative brainstorming. It's a compromise that benefits everyone involved. This sextile supports cooperation between the emotions of the moon and the purpose of the sun. And the degree combination is really talking about favoring communication or talk, because it helps the situation move beyond a problem. And then Sunday, August 9th, Mercury enters Leo. And these are just literal themes of confident speaking, more speaking out, some public announcements, some leadership speeches. This is great for creative writing and performance, with an emphasis on personal opinions. Mercury governs communication and contracts and learning and information, and Leo expresses these through confidence, creativity, visibility, and leadership. So there might be some dramatic stories in life, in the world, during these next 3 weeks after Mercury enters Leo, but it is great for some very confident negotiations. So there it is, a week full of internal adjustments, lots of feelings, and very personal progress. How it looks for each sun and rising sign will be slightly different. Make sure that you do listen to your rising sign forecast alongside your sun sign. Each sign is timestamped below for your convenience, and I'll be back with another episode soon. Until then, bye. Aries this week comes with some second thoughts about work, and this blends feelings about home and family. So it's like you feel the need to make some personal decisions about where you live and what you do, and it can start to feel a little bit chaotic to think about those things. You probably have career responsibility that's weighing very heavy on you right now. You might be asked to fulfill a favor on behalf of a group. Doing the favor is super beneficial because it wins you some points, or it wins you a favor in return that you can call upon later. An emotional moment that comes up this week might be to do with a truth or disagreement where you are sure you are right and someone else is sure you are wrong. This might cause you to withdraw and you retract acceptance on an invitation. So maybe you said yes to something like an invitation of some kind that you change your mind on, because going or attending or doing the thing that you agreed to doesn't feel like the right option because of how it makes you feel now that something has changed. Venus into Libra is a boost in relationships and connections if you want it. Or it might be happening in a strugglesome way. It could indicate overly people-pleasing. And people-pleasing might not even be this bad of a thing. If you and someone you care about compromise and the resolution is a win-win situation, it really has to be that everyone benefits. So this is a good time to negotiate in such a way. A momentary breakthrough comes from a heart-to-heart or head-to-head conversation, and an agreement is made between you and the other that really seems like it's going to work in a positive way when you both either agree to disagree or you both agree on teaming up and going against something together. The point is that a disagreement for the greater good somehow helps you settle a situation either by allowing differences or coming together to fight a bigger cause. And at the weekend, expect some bold words. Somebody professes something or declares something and is pretty monumental. Make sure to listen to the reading for your Sun and Rising sign to get the most of this forecast. Taurus this week blends matters of recovery and healing with work and movement. So this might be the pressure to do while you're still only partway through some kind of healing process. It feels chaotic to feel the pressure to do as well as the need to heal. But it's a case of determining what you value or need the most. Do you need to heal first in order to be more productive? Or do you need to put effort into something because the security that will bring gives you more ability and space to heal? There is nurturing needed, and planning out and looking at your money and your credit and your accounts and finances and so on is necessary in understanding which way this nurturing goes first. Whether it's best to nurture yourself to perform better or to get going with your tasks and work pursuits because it winds up buying you more peace of mind. Looking at the condition of your home is vital. Is your home life supportive? Is it helpful? Does it act as a solid foundation, or is it in disarray? Is it adding to problems? An unorganized or even unkempt or inconsistent home base is an underlying part of an issue. Or maybe there are some family members that need tending to. Maybe they're difficult and you would prefer to withdraw, but maybe that's not a good idea. It does suggest some withdrawal somewhere is necessary for survival. So determine the most chaotic parts of life and then take a step back from letting that chaos cause more problems. Diet is a massive point for you this week. Your diet is vital. Sugar seems to be the nutrient in focus. This might be making sure that you have adequate carbs. They say that the brain needs around 132 grams of carbs a day. And obviously, outside of having sugar issues, where a doctor tells you to be cautious of carbs, cutting carbs too much can be a brain fog problem. So check in, maybe track your food for a couple of days, see if you're cutting back too much on the healthy carbs like beans and potatoes, because this might actually be adding to brain fog and lack of energy or lack of healing. And the same is true with excess sugar being something to watch too, especially if you're overeating the bad kind of processed sugars. It can really mess with your system. Obviously, check in with your doctor because this is not medical advice. This week is about checking in with your carb and your sugar intake to make sure it's working correctly for your body and your needs. Also consider your needs with sleep. This is a necessity, but considering others' needs with sleep or their influence of sleep on you. So this is making me ask, who do you share a bed with? A partner, a pet? Maybe yours or their sleep schedule needs an adjustment to support better rest. When everything lines up, health, healing, and nourishment, there's a light bulb moment with finances. So maybe an opportunity through work is more money than you thought it could be, and that's some great news. A moment of understanding with money is a very big flash of positive. And it becomes easier to reject negative circumstances, even if they do exist in and around your home. Finally, contract agreements or negotiations or any agreement or negotiation at or around your home start this week, and they span a few weeks moving forward, and they can result in more control, security, and joy. Make sure to listen to the reading for your Sun and Rising sign to get the most of this forecast. Gemini Sun and Rising this week starts with some chaos in your social circle or your greater community. There's some hearsay some lack of truth, maybe even gossip. And it does get sorted out, but that's because your direct involvement puts something straight, or you act as a mediator. You take the time to nurture the chaotic situation and you reveal the truth. Where this might be occurring at work, it's not exclusive to your work scenario. There's just some enemy energy because everyone has just gone off the rails a bit. And you tell some truths, or you bring back balance by saying what is needed to be said that no one else will say. But this is your direct involvement. And with it, you need some bravery and some self-confidence to not back down when others challenge you. And then after putting out everyone else's fire, you're going to need some quiet time. Withdrawing from others is how you'll reset yourself after being in other people's crossfire. And the square aspect says that this quiet time might be hard to come by. If you do or don't manage some time alone, either way, treating yourself is key. Treat yourself to good food, a nice meal out, or some kind of fun event or situation. It might be celebrating someone else's birthday, someone you love, or it might simply be finally getting some quiet solo time with a book or your favorite movie. Later in the week, more of the leftovers of the gossip event linger, but it's not in a way that there is a rise of anything coming up again. It's more like just all the others involved are licking their wounds. They're going through the motions of letting the situation go. You may have a friend that wants to chat with you about the whole thing, and you provide a listening ear so that someone can finally put the issue to rest. Once the moments of this lingering gossip, enemy, disagreement, truth, lie, matter are dealt with, you get this fresh start where you know what to watch out for in certain people. And you're a little bit more street savvy about what's going on in your peer group. You'll likely never get caught up in something like this again, because now you're wise enough to learn from this moment. You'll reject it if it resurrects. Finally, you might want to ponder on the power of words. There are books and apps and all sorts in the world that confirm the power of words, and being a Gemini, anything Mercury, anything word related is your digs. So look at picking up a book that can help you further hone your already strong skills with words, or consider writing some kind of book yourself because you've got something to say, something to share that others want to hear. Make sure to listen to the reading for your Sun and Rising sign to get the most of this forecast. This week for Cancer, the chaos is at work. No ifs, ands, or buts. There is some chaos lingering in your work scenario, and you might be seeing more and more clearly that the chaos is being caused by specific other people. And though you might have solutions or the desire to help sort through this chaos, let it be known that this is not the time. Keep your wisdom and your perspective quiet. And this isn't about being subservient, but it's about knowing that there's a whole other authority reorganization thing going on, and it's best to just keep away while it happens. Catch up on sleep and work on a private project. Do something you love and make future plans for your profession. Just don't get too engrossed in the current one. And any time that you feel emotions related to the chaos at work, remember this is not your final destination professionally. Something else is. So redirect those emotions into what really is your bigger professional goal. If you have a certain amount of energy or emotional drive, why waste it on something that is currently someone else's problem? Reserve it for your own ambitions. This might also mean redirecting some of your money and savings into a project. It's investing, although you might not see it that way immediately. They do say speculate to accumulate, and though you might feel hesitant dipping into funds for a project, it helps because it builds something that allows you to change your current position. So speculate to accumulate is the motto. Being at home is the most nourishing for a few weeks. So love the home you are in. Even if this isn't your final home too, just make it smell good, have nice blankets and cushions, get some nice fancy cleaning supplies. Do something luxury and lovely in your home, because for Cancer, your luck and experiences in the outside world are based on the conditions of your inside world at home. When you have an orderly and even luxury feel to the home, in whichever way you want to apply that, you then get more money flow through it from your work. Again, even if this work isn't your final destination of work. You keep on with any work or job that you're doing because it involves and impacts more than just you, and it's more than just you being affected by the chaos. And you almost have this safety in numbers feeling where you're going through this together with others who are also at the butt end of this chaos. And while that doesn't eradicate the stress, it does help you feel supported within it. The true wisdom and special moment or blessing that's on its way is in a project that you are either ignoring or the project you are keeping hush. And you should be keeping it quiet because nothing good ever comes when you tell people things, because there are a lot of hidden enemies masquerading as friends. These are accidental enemies. So just keep on working on a project behind the scenes. And there are bonus points if that project is tech related, community related, or on a screen of some sort. The chaos as the undertone this week might go a long way in helping you understand the importance of keeping on and not dropping this project, because this project is going to support you in a way that at least doubles the income or financial compensation that you are currently getting from your job position. Make sure to listen to the reading for your Sun and Rising sign to get the most of this forecast. This week for Leo, the chaos is with a matter of truth between you and a partner. This is someone that you are very close with. This is people you're very close with revealing something. This is you telling others or others telling you. Whatever is revealed at first is a little bit chaotic. But the truth needs to come out, and come out it does. And then you can figure out your next step. There's no immediate action needing to be taken right now. This is just a week to let the dust settle, to let the revelations sink in before you make a decision on it. The difficult position and point is going to be realizing the kind of impact that the decision has on your life and your future. The decision you make is about to impact you and your future so hard, so let that guide you to take even more time to make it. And reiterate how important it is to not make impromptu or impulsive decisions this very week. The point is to make what is truly going to be the best decision for you, and that could take up to 3 weeks to land on. So don't rush it. You have time to consider more facts, so the few weeks coming up are to collect the facts, to ask more questions, to sit on the information. Taking time to choose after something is revealed is what prevents the chaos from turning into absolute pandemonium. It could even be a good idea to soundboard off of a friend and discuss your options with a friend and hear them out loud and just go over all the possibilities before choosing. Filtering your options through a friend is wise and super helpful. And actually, it helps you at the very least reject the options that you know are going to be no good. It helps you whittle your choices down. And by the end of the week, you might feel totally ready to make a choice. And okay, if you're sure, but it's still worth sitting on that choice for a couple of weeks, even if it ends up being the same decision. You'll lose nothing by waiting. Make sure to listen to the reading for your Sun and Rising sign to get the most of this forecast. This week for Virgo, chaos in your life comes from the people you are connected with and the choices that they've made or the actions that they've taken. You are collateral in someone else's situation, and you are getting affected by proxy or by accident, and it's something where you have to take away any commitments in order to free yourself. You might be committed to a person or a group or a situation, and maybe it's something that you literally are committed to and you signed to, and now you're getting the short end of the stick. So your choices are to detach yourself entirely, to take care of your assets by uncollaborating from something. It's like you're getting taken along on someone else's ride, and so detaching is a good option. Or instead, you could set up some terms and conditions for detachment. So if and when X or Y happens, I will no longer be involved. Conditions are what keep you safe from others. So it might be a good time to set up some terms and conditions based on what or who is the most chaotic in your experience. Going on a trip is a good way to get out of your immediate space, giving yourself room to breathe and think. And if you can't physically travel or go anywhere, finding another safe way to withdraw also works. I get the feeling finding the time to withdraw might be a pain with such a busy schedule and lots to do. So the key is to schedule some withdrawal time into your schedule. So plan it in there like it's just another task. Self-care might be spending some money on yourself or spending money on a vacation, a retreat, a trip, or some kind of treat. And this is your invitation to literally treat yourself. And call it in the name of healing or repairing, because waiting for someone else to apologize or fix something they broke or hurt is going to be a long way off because they are still messed up within their own matters. This is a good week to renegotiate payments that you have. Waiting for different terms or different rates is not the best option. It's not going to happen. It's almost like renegotiating now is as good as it's going to get for a while. Somebody at work taking a vacation or someone at work going through something means there's more tasks to delegate around the rest of you, but this isn't showing up as something difficult, so that's good. Finally, take care of your nervous system, whether that means making sure you're getting the right amount of B vitamins or the right amount of sleep, that you're having the right conversations with the right people and you're not getting bogged down by others' trash talk. Your nervous system requires the most care for the next few weeks, so prioritize whatever it is you need to do to keep stress low and peace high. Make sure to listen to the reading for your Sun and Rising sign to get the most of this forecast. This week for Libra, chaos in a close one-on-one relationship feels so heavy that it might lead you to recreational excess. Drinking more, eating more, going out more, or it may lead to an impulsive desire to just change your living and home arrangements. Whatever the impulse, the message is to not give in to it and to somehow grit your teeth through the chaos. As hard as that may be, it does have immediate payoffs if you can do it. And you build more security, you build more personal understanding of what you will and won't tolerate in the future. It's a very hard lesson of sorts, but it's defining you in such a way that you'll never go through relationship chaos again. Taking care not to act too quickly means that you can take care of yourself and plan for the next step even more efficiently. And it's more like prepping yourself as much as possible to be ready to act from a place of certainty and security rather than flippantly acting now and finding yourself in a situation of picking up some pieces. This is being the most prepared as possible to handle some things, maybe alone if needed. And all the work is being done now by grinning and bearing and white-knuckling through the chaos. There's also this idea of not going through this alone. You might have a friend or colleague or family member going through a similar situation, and you can find some solace in sharing your familiar battles. And it's like a relieved pressure when you have someone in your life, someone who genuinely understands what you're going through. It kind of helps you feel like you can survive this a little bit more than if you were feeling alone in this battle. Venus moving into your sign is a message to be kinder to yourself. Self-care and pampering are top priority. And as you make plans for the future, you might be making a few different ones, like a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. And you're waiting to see which one is most acceptable or applicable. There is another truth to be heard coming out this week. I think that's why holding back on a decision is vital. There's more truth to be heard, and then you can make a more informed decision once that truth lands. There's some wisdom coming where you might learn that something going on in your life isn't as detrimental to you as you thought it was at first. And this is not just in the relationship, this is more in your general life plan direction. So wait to define your plan A, B, and C, because another piece of info is coming forward this week. Some of your plans might involve a friend. Maybe a friend offers you something. That's why waiting is optimal, because they might make an offer or suggestion that is pretty hard to resist and is actually quite an exciting possibility. So definitely hold back on all decisions despite certain connections being under this pressure pot and certain work matters being volatile, because there is a pending offer coming that might just be a shining light. Acting too quickly means you could miss it. Make sure to listen to the reading for your Sun and Rising sign to make the most of this forecast. This week for Scorpio, chaos in your workplace might mess with your mind, and it might even mess with your health. A little bit of lack of hunger leads to reaching for convenience foods that are just not the healthiest, and it can perpetuate this cycle of worsening health, lessening appetite, and increasing stress. And it's like it's on a loop, and something's got to give to break the loop. Maybe some preventative care, some extra vitamins, some nurturing through good food, less processed stuff, especially if you feel inflamed. Your body might be telling you something, and it's time to listen and treat yourself with care through good food. It seems like both work life and home life are pretty heavy areas, especially work. There's the feeling of trying to keep up with something or playing keep up, like trying to prevent something from slowing down or worsening. almost like you're saving something. But make sure you save yourself too, and you don't abandon yourself in the process. Especially if you're stuck in between home and family situations and work pressures, you are still a living human being that needs certain things to exist properly. There might also be something you need to cut out, a bad habit that's causing you more damage than it's doing good. Part of self-care is prioritizing the workload, in that if it doesn't need to be done, then don't do it. If something is not as urgent and important as other things, put the task off or delegate it to someone else. Getting someone else to do work or letting someone else, you might not even ask, they might just take it on themselves. It might be that others are willing to do this work anyway. It could be the exact lightening of the load needed for you to have a bit of a positive mental breakthrough. And as you have this breakthrough, the mental load lifts, work, life, and everything, and health gets more enjoyable again. And then you're full of ideas and spark within your work life, which then turns into making it easier at home. This whole thing just perpetuates positivity and everything starts to make sense. But the key is offloading some stuff that you really don't need to be doing and letting someone else do it. Even if they don't seem as good as you, it's the tasks that are not as important anyway. Make sure to listen to both your sun and rising sign to get the most of this forecast. This week for Sagittarius, the need for a little bit more fun might be an amounting pressure that turns into chaos if it is left unfettered. If you give way to impulses and desires, you might regret it. No doubt you'll have a great time, but you might battle with the duality of responsibility and fun, where you can actually have both if you do the responsibility first and the fun second. But you might feel compelled to do the fun first and the responsibility then gets lost or only half completed. And the impact to your money is interesting. Whereas if you do the responsibilities first and the fun second, your money game is on point, but the other way around, it won't be. There's also some nurturing in a relationship that serves a bigger purpose. It might be that someone you love or care about or someone you are close with, if not a relationship, they need your support as they embark on something pretty big, and you're like a rock or an ally or just some kind of support that they need and want. Your work could take you places, your job or your skill has the potential to support you anywhere you go. You kind of just have to look around a bit more and think of where you want to be. You are portable, or more aptly, you have the ability to work anywhere or remotely if that's something you want. This might involve considering moving or even just some temporary travel. The hard thing might be leaving your current place because you've been there a long time, or it's very, very easy. Especially if your work involves other people in the public, providing, serving, you'll make the most income, profit, or whatever, you'll have the most value when you provide something for others. Providing entertainment, providing leisure, providing relaxation, providing security, those are big themes. The biggest breakthrough might come when discussing potentials with a significant other, or if not a romantic connection, a very, very good companion. There's wisdom that comes from a real brainstorming session with you and someone that you trust. And it results in a plan that feels soul fulfilling. Maybe with some concrete plans for the next chapter, you start to see the future. Make sure to listen to both your sun and rising sign to get the most of this forecast. This week for Capricorn, the chaos starts at home. And it's not that it's new chaos, it's the usual stuff. It's some domestic chaos thanks to the moon's connection, or there's some relationship chaos, and the imbalances can wind up impacting you personally in how you feel, or it can affect your productivity with money. But there might be a breaking point. And sometimes chaos serves the greater good because it opens up the floor for resolution. It might motivate you into throwing yourself into work, or it motivates you to take better care of your health because getting stressed is clearly damaging. It might motivate you to set some non-negotiables in the home for the benefit of everyone, or it creates a sudden need for structure that eventually everyone agrees to. For a while, there might be less of the fun times and more of the serious times, but that's often needed. A withdrawal from recreational things that siphon resources or are, quite frankly, not earned, where some serious effort needs to be put in by others before the entertainment and fun, jolly side of life can resume. That seems to be the feel midweek. Some leaps and bounds in career could be anything from getting more control than previously had, and it's in a good way, more creative control, more financial control. If you are more in charge of resources, things tend to go better than if someone else were to decide, because you consider more sides to everything than others do. Some people are just tunnel visioned, whereas you see everything and can consider more angles when making decisions that impact more than just yourself. A nice surprise at work comes through an award, a reward, an opportunity that is pretty big. It might gain you some visibility or just bring a little more cash flow in. The work you do pretty much always benefits others, not just yourself. In fact, sometimes it benefits others more than yourself. This week is no different, as you take on the responsibility on behalf of others. And you might need to be a little bit more vocal about that this week in terms of speaking in conditions, telling people how it will be and why it is that way so that they get it. You taking control means speaking up and putting your foot down at the same time. Make sure to listen to both your sun and rising sign to get the most of this forecast. This week for Aquarius, an idea that life is changing or a plan or an agreement that's happening is unfolding. There is just a life-changing deal that is becoming very, very real. Something that is a change of your future is pending or unfolding or in action. And it can be very exciting as far as change goes. And you might be in the throes of planning related to this upcoming pending change. There might be things to do at home related to this change. There might be things you need to discuss with someone else who you are experiencing this change with. But rearranging or adjusting things at home seems to be a priority for at least 3 weeks. In fact, someone else taking the lead might be the right thing, whether it's a partner, business or personal. This whole change might be based on things going on in their life and then how their life is connected to your life. Or maybe it's an agent or a leader or someone guiding you into something better. A breakthrough is that you can have fun and enjoy the path being shown to you by someone else, instead of feeling like everything is on your shoulders. Allowing others to handle things means there's more stress-free time for you to do the things more important to you, especially the creative things. If someone else is taking care of business, you'll be taking care of fun, and that's equally important. Perhaps someone else being delegated the more serious things in life is so that you can better tap into creativity that needs to be released for whatever purpose. Maybe you're set to do something big and magical with your creative brain, and you couldn't do that because of being caught up in mundane life and taking care of things, but someone else takes the wheel, and now you can be the muse or the art and the artist all rolled into one. Finally, this week you might receive a compliment or comment that is a hint at where you should put your creative focus. When someone recognizes something in you, don't ignore it, and maybe explore the things that you are complimented on. Make sure to listen to both your sun and rising sign to get the most of this forecast. This week for Pisces, money matters are in focus, and maybe it's money matters that are in chaos. Figuring out some budget stuff is non-negotiable, and you might do well to prioritize that in the first few days of the week. By doing this, you're set to make further plans of action once you know what kind of standing you are in. The finances are related to changing family dynamics too, so maybe owed or borrowed money, maybe an expanding family that becomes more expensive, maybe a family member giving or asking for support, maybe the home has more expenses tied to it. Knowing where you stand in the financials helps you answer some pressing questions. And it might result in you thinking that you need to pick up more shifts at work. If you feel pressure, make sure to check in that it's actually viable. If you're picking up shifts to help out others or to help out financially or whatever the reason, make sure it doesn't burn you out. Alternatively, you might be in the position to relinquish and give up a shift or two if there's more value in the downtime. In fact, giving up a shift, calling in, or needing a day off seems more possible towards the end of the week. Something comes up and it's not a dire situation, but having a day off helps. A break from some kind of chaos might well be needed. Wisdom comes to you when you're at home, so spending more time at home is key. The safety and solace of your own space provides you with a breakthrough that you won't get when you're working yourself to the bone. Or turning your working efforts inwards into your home. Maybe something needs done at home, finishing a home project, or to just spruce things up, something you've previously put on hold. Your organization senses are heightened, and you can really apply it in your personal space, and when others ask you for an opinion or input on a dilemma they're having, your opinion really matters there too. Make sure to listen to the Reading for both your sun and rising sign to get the most of this forecast.